My name is Lauren Horner, and I'm from Powdermill Nature Reserve. I am the Senior Environmental Educator and Naturalist at Powdermill Nature Reserve. So I get to do stuff like this, leading people on nature hikes, talking about the stuff that's in the area. Powdermill is located about 45 minutes-ish from here. Very similar habitat, a lot of the same organisms. And we're going to start out by heading over to the stream, which I was reminded is McIntyre Run. So we're going to go this way and out and around.
Hey, how are you? Good to see you again.
And like I said earlier, if there's something that you see that you have a question about, stop me, ask me. I'll do my best to answer it. If I can't answer it, I'll try to figure out the answer for you before I leave. So let's see, how close can we get? I can't remember. Well, okay. So this little guy right here in this pine tree, it's a chipping sparrow, and I recognize him by the rusty red cap, and he flew off. Okay, but they have a forked tail at the end, little rusty red cap. These guys are all over here, all over Powdermill. We see them chipping sparrow, and they kind of go chip, 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 chip. They make a chip. They'll sit on a power line and chip, 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 chip. That's them. We'll probably hear some more of them as we go along. And this has grown in a little bit more than I remember from the last time. But I think we can get over there, right?
We should be able to.
All right, cool. So let's head over there. Yeah, it'll be all right. So Powdermill gets its name because of Powdermill Run, which is a stream, and we do a lot of stuff in the stream. We look at the macroinvertebrates that live there because they can tell us a whole lot about the stream health. Some organisms are much more tolerant to pollution than others. The absence of a particularly intolerant organism doesn't mean that the stream is unhealthy, but the presence of it means it's healthy. So something like a crayfish, they'll live in a mud puddle. They are super tolerant. Things like mayflies and stoneflies and damselflies are a lot more delicate, and they require cleaner waters. So it looks a little low. You guys probably haven't had as much rain lately, similar to us. Let's see if we can get down a little closer. So I'm gonna.
She might know more than me. What do you think?
What?
Have you been down there?
Go through? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I
all
didn't
right.
want to go into an area that. Okay. Cool.
I'll help you clear some things too. Just find these branches.
Yeah.
I don't actually see any poison ivy. That's cool. This we usually.
I gotta remember.
Sorry.
Okay, cool. So as Lindsay mentioned, there are ticks, but I was just saying I don't see any poison ivy here, so you don't have to worry about that part. Cool, thanks. Yeah. I just remember we're going to get a little easier. Yes. So, come down as close or not as you want.
Are there any like tips about avoiding ticks? Like if you are out walking, besides putting on like repellent or something like that?
Repellents work. Long pants. Don't wear what I'm wearing. Wear long pants.
Yeah.
Tuck your pant leg into your socks. I don't care how goofy it looks. Yeah. Yep. Tuck your pant legs into your socks. Tuck your shirt into your pants. Wear long sleeves. Hat. All of those things are very helpful for ticks. And then make sure you check yourself pretty quickly after you get back in. You can throw your clothes in the dryer for 10 minutes. It'll kill any ticks that are on there. They'll just fall off. Yep. Hop in the shower. Check yourself. Then you're done. The one good thing about ticks, so they have a larval stage, and then they go through a nymph stage, and then they're adults. The larval stage, they only have 6 legs as larvae, and they haven't had a blood meal yet. So they haven't sucked the blood of anything yet, which means that those that are really, really hard to see, because they're like the size of the pin of a head, or head of a pin, yeah. Those that are really, really hard to see can't give you Lyme disease because they cannot hatch with Lyme disease. They have to get it from something first.
Okay.
So I was just going to flip over a couple of rocks and see if I see anything under them. Somebody said, or maybe it was you said earlier, that you had seen a whole bunch of crayfish down here. We might see a crayfish. I'm not going to promise you that, but I'm going to flip over a thing or two. It might get a little wet, and that's okay. This is something that we do pretty frequently at Powdermill. Here we go. I've got a very tiny thing. So basically, oh, that's cool. I flipped over the rock and I looked for movement. I just looked for movement and I found movement. I actually found a couple things on here, but there's, if you see that little teeny thing squiggling along,
Yeah.
that's a little mayfly nymph.
Okay.
So a mayfly nymph, I don't know if you can even see it back there, but that, where'd he go? There he is. That little guy right there, moving around. Not a whole lot of movement to him. We'll get him a little wet again. Moving around him. This little thing, that little dot right there is a mayfly nymph.
Oh yeah.
So it'll get bigger and bigger as it's in the water and it'll eat things. And then it will go through metamorphosis, come to the surface of the water and literally fly off of the water. Now the other cool thing that I feel like is something that has been inspirational not just for artistic reasons but also for protection reasons. Did anybody notice on the other side of the rock there's a whole bunch of little rocks stuck to it? So there's right in front of my finger there, I can come back closer, but there's a whole bunch of little rocks that are stuck to this rock. And that's because there's a caddisfly living in it. So there are different species of caddisflies. There's one species that only uses the the shells of dead snails, and it makes a case around its body of dead snail shells. This one just uses rocks and pebbles. And they weave them together using silk or sometimes muck. But they'll stitch together a house that they can, sometimes that they can carry along with them. Sometimes it's glued to the underside of a rock. And that's the reason I know that that's what's there is because...
Coming in.
So this little pile of rocks are glued together and glued to the underside of this rock. And there's a caddisfly living inside. Same thing, caddisflies are in their larval stage when they're in the stream. And then they will metamorphosize and, you know, wings will appear and they will fly away. All those little teeny pebbles right there. Yep.
So what stage are they in when they're gathering up those rocks and living there?
The larval stage.
Larval?
Yeah, they hatch out of an egg and then they undergo, they kind of look like a little worm. I'm going to put this about back where I got it from. Right about here. So those guys, the caddisflies, are more tolerant than the mayfly, but we had a mayfly. They're a little more tolerant, or excuse me, they're a little less tolerant than the caddisflies, but, oh, yeah, okay. Crayfish, all right, let me see if I can get him. Grip them. He may have slipped away. Oh, no, he's still under there. Come on. It's okay. I don't care if this one pinches me, it's not a big deal, so I'm just kind of going after it.
Yep.
Whoops! You got another hole.
There it is.
Oh, there's a couple of them down here. All right.
Wow.
This is small.
This is a small one, yeah. So crayfish, okay, he's gonna do it a little bit. One of their defense mechanisms is to flick their tail, because in the water, when they flick their tail, they go swimming backwards, and they get away from whatever's trying to eat them. It looks like at one point this guy lost a claw. It'll grow back with the next molt or two. You guys probably have seen larger crayfish than this. They do get much bigger than this. And like I said, crayfish don't indicate a super healthy stream, but just because we found this guy, if I had only found this guy, I wouldn't say it's unhealthy. But especially because we found the caddisfly and the mayfly, then I would say that it's a pretty healthy stream. But I also knew that it was a pretty healthy stream. All right, so I'm gonna let this guy go unless anybody has any questions before I plop him back in the water. Okay. First, I'm gonna put the rocks back where they were because I don't want to hurt him when I do that. But just gonna check and see if there's anything cool stuck to the underside of any of these rocks too. Nope.
How do the crayfish, how do they breathe? Like, do they breathe underwater? Do they breathe above water?
They're not quite gills, but they're not quite lungs.
Okay.
They're more like a spider's.
Okay.
They kind of get the oxygen.
Just from the environment?
Yeah, they do suck oxygen out, but it's not as sophisticated as like a fish's gills or a human's lungs.
Okay. So can they do it from both water and air?
They do better. They need to be in the water.
Okay.
They can survive for a decent period of time. In fact, these guys, if they were in a puddle that started to dry out, they would crawl across the land and they'd be okay for quite a while. But eventually they'd dry out.
Okay.
And their lungs, it's not that their lungs can't get the oxygen, but if their lungs dry out, then they can't breathe.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Or if their respiratory system dries out.
Right.
Should I help the crayfish that end up in the roads when they get washed out? Or do you think they'll find their way?
When they get washed out, if you want to, put them further along in the direction they're going, just like with a turtle that you see on the road, don't put the turtle back on the other side. It was heading that way for a reason. So, yeah. Okay, since we're standing here under it, we do have the mountain laurel here. Native, actually the Pennsylvania tree, although it's more of a shrub. And we also have here a witch hazel tree. And it's kind of growing into it. I don't know names. Yep, that's it. Yep, that's the witch hazel. So witch hazel is a native tree, and it has a very interesting flower, and it blooms very late. So November. Check this out in November, and that's when the flowers are actually out on these guys. And they're these yellow, stringy petals that come out and twist out, and they to me they look like I know that there's somebody help me out. There's a name for the like blown twisted glass that
It's stringers?
maybe
Pull out?
maybe I'm thinking like the chandeliers and super Chipotle glass, his kind of stuff. That kind of stuff, yeah. So to me, that's what it reminds me of.
Okay.
Is that style of glass.
The blossoms?
The blossoms, yeah, because of the way they come out and just sort of twist around each other, and yeah, and it's a really, really vibrant yellow too. Cool.
Question.
Sure.
Hey, I always thought rhododendron had the larger leaves like that.
Yeah.
They're very
Mountain
closely
laurel
related.
or smaller.
Am I
Or
looking
there
at
so many
the wrong-
or
hang
there are a
on.
lot of varieties.
Probably a lot of varieties.
Separated
You know what?
flower petals.
I'm getting closer, and now I see some of the flowers on the floor
Yeah.
or the ground, and not looking at the sun. You're right. It is a
It is a
rhododendron,
rhododendron.
and not a mountain laurel, but they are close enough.
Because I'm mountain laurel is
Yep.
small
Yep.
flowers. Okay.
You're absolutely right.
There's no separation in the petals.
Right.
It's not mineral.
It comes out, and actually the stamen even attached to the sides, and they pop up, and it's really cool little lines of it. So yeah, no, I'm really glad you asked because I was not looking closely at it, and you're absolutely right. Thanks. Cool.
Which way are you heading? Get out of your way.
I'm sorry?
Would a mountain laurel participate?
They can. In the right conditions, left unchecked, they can. Yeah. All right, let's head that way. Yep, I'm gonna let you guys out first.
You don't know like the geology of this stream at all?
That one, geology's not my area. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know a whole
I'm
lot
not.
about the geology of this particular stream,
Yeah.
so sorry.
No worries, yeah.
But I can see what I can find out.
Yeah, please.
I'll ask our GIS guy. Yeah, watch your head too as you're going past.
There are abandoned projects.
Yeah, yeah. So find some interesting looking rocks on the path. And melt them into glaze.
Yeah, that is so cool that you're harvesting the clay here too.
Totally, yeah. I'm gonna do
I've
that
always wanted to do that.
this
So
week for sure.
I heard it, and I'm sure we'll hear another one. Keep your ears out for different birds, but one of them that I just heard a minute ago, it's the American goldfinch. They're the ones that the males turn peep yellow in the springtime, like the marshmallow peeps. They are peep yellow. And as they fly, they have this kind of undulating flight pattern. It's flap, and then they dip, and then flap, and then they dip, and they say potato chip, potato chip, potato chip as they fly along. That's one of the few mnemonics that I feel like really nails it. They definitely say potato chip. So let's head that way. We're gonna make our way kind of up the road a little bit, and I want to make sure that we get to see a few things before your next classes start.
Briefly, I mean, the initial prospecting basically is this kind of wetness, lowercase soil. Like I say, if you can wrap that around your finger,
Yeah.
then it's pretty good. Another thing that I usually do is I bring a little bit of hydrochloric acid bottle, pour that in a bunch of clay, get the fizz that goes behind it. You don't want that.
This flower, okay, does anybody know what this flower is? It's a local native wildflower. Really good guess because it grows with that frequently. Joe Pye weed. So this is Joe Pye weed. There's a very tall one, and there's one that's, well, it's tall, but it's not as tall as this individual plant here. It is a wonderful pollinator plant. Lots of different bees really enjoy Joe Pye weed, and I think it's a particularly fun plant as well. So saw it, wanted to point it out. Yeah. Okay, we can press on.
Butterflies love it.
Butterfly. Did I not say butterflies? I totally said bees.
Yeah.
Bees love it. Butterflies love it.
too. Yeah.
I was taught it was an Indian. It's named after an Indian who sold it at a
Oh, yeah?
facility for urologic disease.
Yep. Joe Pye. Yep.
Yeah.
So we've got a whole bunch of oak trees in this space. I knew there were oak trees. I kind of forgot how many oak trees there were here, but lots and lots of oak trees. And we can keep walking, but if you think about sounds of summer, one of the things that I think of as a sound of summer is cicadas. And this area was not where brood 10 of the cicadas emerged, but you still get the annual cicadas. And that's what I have on my shirt, is actually an annual cicada. In fact, our entomologist pinned this individual. We set it up, she got a nice picture of it, I sent it over to the Warhol. They made a screen print for me, and I made this shirt. So the annual cicadas, I heard one when I pulled up earlier today. I'm sure that we'll hear at least one along this walk. There we go.
Right on cue.
Thank you. That's, to me, that is the sound of summer.
Buzzing.
Yeah. The reason I paused with the oak trees to talk about it is cicadas, even the annual cicadas, they just have a bizarre life cycle. So you've probably seen when they emerge and fly around, then you see a whole bunch of dead ones after that, because they spend the majority of their lives in the ground sucking sap and phloem from roots of trees. And then they come out of the ground, they emerge out of the ground, they crawl up a tree, they molt, they spread their wings, they fly, they find mates, the females lay eggs, and then they all die. And that's their life cycle. the females will lay their eggs in the trees. They'll actually go towards the ends of the branches, and they'll use their ovipositor like a needle and insert it into the branch of the tree. They'll put an egg here, and then they'll move down 1/4 of an inch and put another egg here, and put another egg here, and put another egg here. The eggs will hatch, the larvae fall to the ground, burrow in. And in the case of the periodical cicadas, they'll spend 17 years in the ground, which is just mind-boggling. That these little guys are larvae in the ground for 17 years, and then they emerge and they're out for a week and they die. Not even a week. We see them for weeks, but we don't see any one individual for that anywhere near that long. And so the oak trees are really good hosts for them. And when they lay their eggs in the branches on the ends, it will kill the end of the branch. It won't harm a tree of this size. It won't. It's just, even if all of the ends of the branches have eggs deposited in them, these trees will survive. But you'll see, and you can see it actually driving, if you get a little bit east of here where brood 10 was, it's what's called flagging on the trees. You'll see the ends of the branches are brown and drooping. And you know that there were cicadas that laid eggs on the branches of those trees. So, in 17 years, you can come back and look for the emergence.
I'm breaking off to the meadow shop. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, I will see you tomorrow for sure.
Sounds good. And, well, that one's labeled for us, a black gum tree there. A little different from our oak trees that are the majority of what we're seeing. Different kinds of oaks, but nice little black gum there. And let me see. I think. Yeah, so this little guy, let me just make sure. Nope, this is a beech. Yeah, this is a beech tree. I got excited for a minute until I saw that bark. So, on the younger parts, it kind of looks like a black birch tree, but then when you look at that bark, this is all part of this one. Beech trees, when they get older, we'll look for more. But when they get older and larger, two really cool things happen. One, their bark smooths out and it becomes nice and white, and it's a beautiful palette. Unfortunately, people do sometimes use that palette, but it is a beautiful bark. The other thing that I find really cool about the American beech tree is that they will hollow out. Not all of them, not always, but the tree will still be alive and have a hollow center. And eventually, you know, the tree falls over and you realize, oh, it was hollow inside all that time, but the tree was still alive. Yeah.
Why does it get hollow?
It's just I don't have the perfect answer for that, other than that's the way this tree grows.
Are there ants inside?
It's not that something eats it from the inside, it's just the way this tree works.
That is wild.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's pretty wild. Yeah. Cool. I see a little bit of one of our 3 native vines here. We did mention poison ivy. Does anybody know the 3 native vines in western Pennsylvania? Virginia creeper. So we said poison ivy. We've got Virginia creeper. There's one more. The 3 native vines in western Pennsylvania. I know, super specific, especially if you're not from here. I'm looking for it, and I'm not seeing any of it yet. I'm sure we will.
Is it the 5-leaf one?
Well, Virginia creeper has 5 leaves. Yeah, but there's one more. So we got Virginia creeper and poison ivy.
Is it that honeysuckle one? That's so invasive?
Honeysuckle's not native.
Oh.
Birds love it, but it's not native. Grapevine, I heard it.
Grapevine.
Grapevine. So yeah, so grapevine is our 3rd native plant. If you ever find yourself lost in the woods, grapevine actually makes great cordage. You can strip off the pieces of it and you can braid it. It also looks really neat. Test it before you swing on it.
Right. No, it's not.
Let's see here. Oh my, it's already feeling that. Okay. Where are honey
honeysuckle from?
Well, the one that we have the most of is the Japanese honeysuckle. So, Japan. The Japanese honeysuckle, though, it's so utilized by many different species, particularly the cedar waxwings. So cedar waxwings will actually feed on the berries, and many other birds too, but they'll eat the berries and they'll feed them to their young as well. In fact, at Powdermill we found, so cedar waxwings have a yellow band at the end of their tails, and we found that the cedar waxwings that were eating more of the honeysuckle berries and then feeding that to their young, their tail bands were orange instead of yellow. Yeah. Ah, you have a little mushroom here? Oh yeah?
Those big ones
Oh yeah.
down by the path.
Cool. So this little guy, I'm not sure. I know you don't want to eat this one. I don't know exactly what kind this is. I'm trying to remember the name of it, and it'll probably come to me a little while later. But I also saw. Okay, this is just kind of fun. Can I have a volunteer? It's catchweed bedstraw. So catchweed, if you feel it,
Oh, yeah.
it's got little teeny hairs that act almost like hook and loop Velcro. That's what, yeah.
Is it also known as cleavers?
Say again?
Is it also known as cleavers? or
I've
just
heard
the
it called that too.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So there are a few different kinds. Yay! Okay, that's a better demonstration. I do it to my husband all the time. If you would like to feel it, you may. I don't know. But it's doesn't hurt, doesn't really grab your skin, but you can feel
Underneath the
the
leaf.
stickiness. Yeah, it's all over it. The stem, the leaves, everything. Yeah, it's one of my favorites just because of that.
What's it called again?
Catchweed bedstraw.
Okay.
Yes. It's that particular one. How are we doing? And now we're having fun. All right. I was also hoping we might, well, if I see it, I'll point it out. There are a few things that I'm particularly looking for, but I never know for sure what I'm going to find on a walk until I go. Oh, both are just so peaceful out here.
Yeah.
I'm hearing some more cicadas. I'm not hearing a whole lot of birds right now, but this isn't the birding hour. You know, birds are really active in the morning and in the late afternoon, evening. I mean, of course, they're not just doing nothing right now, but they aren't as active at this moment.
I would like to know why they wake me up at 5:30 and then they get quiet.
Right?
So birds do get up early to feed, and they're actually migrating through the night. So if you have a flock that comes in overnight, then one of the first things they're going to do is eat, because migration is hard work. They burn off a lot of fat, and at Powdermill, one of the things that we do when we are banding and processing birds there, we're actually looking at how much fat they have on their body, because they can eat on a whole lot of fat in one go to then use for their migration. And so we can tell by looking at how much fat is on a bird that migrates if they're about to migrate or not. Yeah. Whoops.
Yeah, yeah.
It's okay. It's not what I thought it was going to be. I got excited. I thought I was going to show you the grapevine, but it's not grapevine. So fingers crossed that we'll actually come upon some. I do see here something that I'm not going to pick up and show you, because this is stinging nettle. So stinging nettle, different people have different reactions to it. It kind of burns a little bit. Think like super mild jellyfish sting. It doesn't last forever. Some people it lasts 5 to 15 minutes. Some people it lasts a couple hours, but it goes away. But it does make a very nice tea. You do need to boil it to get rid of the stinging properties. Don't just eat the leaves. Make sure you boil it nicely. So this is stinging nettle. If you get close enough to it, you can see the little hairs all over the stem, the leaves, the underside of the leaves in particular. You can see those. And if you really want, you can touch it. It's not going to cause any permanent damage. It's not enjoyable though.
What happens if it gets on your eye? Asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend. I like on your in your eye kind of thing. Is that what we're, or like on your eyelid?
Either or.
I imagine you'd have a pretty unpleasant sensation in your eye. I don't know exactly. I've not had somebody experience that I know. I don't have any personal points of reference for that. But I would flush it with lots and lots of saline solution to get that sensation out. I do see some Virginia creeper on this tree here. Somebody asked about the 5 leaves. Yep, it's down here too. Now, poison ivy and Virginia creeper often grow together, so people sometimes confuse them. Poison ivy is recognizable with its 3 leaves, yes, but lots of other plants have 3 leaves too. So what I always tell people to look for poison ivy is if you make your hands look like they have mittens on, and you cross them over, the 2 leaves on the outside have, we'll call them thumb bumps, on the outside. The one in the middle has thumb bumps on both sides.
Oh, okay.
So that's poison ivy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That is the thing that, to me, is, okay, mittens, got it. So this, our Virginia creeper here, is totally harmless, and it is a native vine, and this is the one with the 5 leaves. Another thing that you can look at when it's growing on a tree more vigorously than that, Virginia creeper, the root system on the vine that grabs onto the tree, the little root pieces, they almost line up on opposite sides, and they look like little fingers lying next to each other. Poison ivy though is hairy. I mean, it's just fuzzy everywhere. Don't pet the fuzzy vine. It's poison ivy. Every part of poison ivy that contains the oils that can give you the rash. The leaves, the berries,
Is that poison ivy right there in the bigger?
that is not.
What kind of tree?
It's
Alternated
which
makes me think of it.
it's also, well, it's toothed.
Why are you touching?
Because I know it's not poison ivy. I know it's not poison ivy. The leaf is toothed. So here, if you look, right here, touch it. No, you don't have to touch it. But this leaf is toothed all along the edge,
Oh, I see
and
it.
poison
I see
ivy
it.
does have lobes, but it's not toothed like that. So I know
never
that's.
had poison ivy in my life until 2 years ago.
So poison ivy
It
is
was
something that you
It's
can
horrible.
develop a sensitivity to. So I developed it about 5 years ago, which was very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because I didn't used to react to it, and now I do.
So you feel safe.
Right. Right. So you can, like a lot of things, people can develop an allergy to bee stings. People can develop a sensitivity to poison ivy. Yes. Okay. Let's see. It is. Sadly, we probably ought to start heading back to make sure that you guys have time for your next thing. But I'm still here through tomorrow. So. And we can keep talking along the way. If there's something you saw and you forgot to ask about it and you want to point it out, that's totally fine. That's why we're here.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Do you know what this is? I was curious about that.
I don't, but I want to tell you guys about a really cool app that we use and that we highly recommend to people. It's called iNaturalist.
I have it.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So there's no service out here, as was mentioned earlier, but there is the Wi-Fi. So I'm going to take a picture of it and try to iNat it and see if we can find out what it is. You want to make sure that you get, it's hard to know when you're looking at a new plant. It's hard to know what characteristics are going to be useful for identification. So take lots of pictures. I can see that this is about the flower up here. So I took a picture of that. And then I'm also going to take a picture of just the distribution of the leaves as well. Okay. Cool. There are a lot of ferns in this area. That's something that with trees this large, the ferns don't require quite as much sunlight, so we get the ferns coming out. We're at a point in the year where those lovely spring ephemerals are all gone because we're well into the summer. The flowers that come out in the spring, they do so because their leaves can get sunlight before the trees put on leaves and block the light from the canopy. Say again?
Found the poison ivy.
Aha! Yes, that is poison ivy. So again, sometimes the outer ones they've got two thumbs on the outside.
Sorry.
That's a really good example of a double thumb bump, if you will. But think about the mittens that we were talking about when you look at this. The stem of poison ivy will also have kind of a reddish tinge. The middle leaf will also have a longer stem than the other two leaves that are on the side beside it. There are a lot of little things, but the mittens is the first thing that I think of. When the poison ivy has berries, the berries are white. Yes, run and fright. Let's see, leaves of 3, leave it be, berries of white, run and fright. There's all kinds of things with that. But lots of birds like to forage in poison ivy, and some of them will eat the berries. So, you know, it is not a bad thing on its own. We just happen to react to it.
Yeah, I heard it helps with egg shell development.
Oh, what are we looking at?
Is it a fungus?
That's weird.
That's an interesting mushroom.
It's, I don't think this is a mushroom. It's awfully attached. Oh, this is... Ah, what is it? Anybody?
Is that a man?
It's weird that it's here.
Skunk cabbage.
Yes, this is skunk cabbage.
This forest is so much fuller than Philly forests.
Yeah, for sure.
There's Tiarella over there.
Huh.
Nice. Skunk cabbage is so named because it stinks like skunk. Nothing will eat it. I'm told that you can, if you're desperate, you can dry it to make an herb. I don't know why you would. Like to make an herb for...
Doesn't it have like, not exactly, but it's comparable to like insulation? How if you shouldn't touch insulation because you get the glass. It's just, apparently if you touch it or eat it or crunch it, it's supposed to go into your skin.
The stinging nettle will do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one doesn't have that, to my knowledge. What it does do that's kind of an insulation thing, though, that I think is really cool, is in the winter, this is one of the first plants to come up. They'll come up in January, February, and it'll actually produce heat and melt the snow around it, and you'll have a little hole in the snow with the flower coming up. So that's where my mind went when you said insulation. I was thinking about the heat, but you're talking about like the fiberglass.
Yeah, fiberglass, that's the word I was trying to think of.
Got it. Yeah.
They smell awful.
Yes, they do.
Trampled through them.
Yes, they do.
There's a whole bunch from because it's wet over there. So. No, I don't. I stick to the path.
So I do see over here another, we have another nice native tree, but don't get into it too much. It's hawthorn. It has thorns. And you can really see it on this piece over here that's probably not going to make it a whole lot longer. But you can see those spines, and they can get up to, 3 inches long on the larger trees. So where there's this guy, there's probably another one around. They don't get really, really tall, but, about this size of this guy here. So there's probably one around here somewhere. Or it could be that a bird ate a hawthorn berry from somewhere else and deposited it here.
Here's the clay.
I was gonna say, is that the clay
that's
that you?
the clay,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Not a good sample per se, but
That's pretty cool.
never try to take it off the road.
Ah, here we are. Blackberry. Yeah. So blackberries are another one that they're native, and they get redeposited in different places by birds. And yeah, these are. It's a rather small little bush of blackberries, but we got a couple blackberries that I'm going to leave for the birds. Yes. Okay. Cool. I'm not going to pick it. I'm just going to clear a little bit so that people can see. Thank you. Good eye. All right. So, pipe let's see, what did you call it?
Pipestone.
Pipe stem, ghost pipe, Indian pipe. There's lots of different names for it, but it is actually parasitic. So it's not, it wouldn't be here without the other plants and trees here for it to feed off of, essentially. They're somewhat ethereal, and when you get a big stand of them, they just, well, ethereal is really the best word that I can think of. And as they grow, the flower inside will actually start to turn dark. Sometimes they get a pink hue to them, sometimes they get a little bit peachy pink. They're really, really pretty. So there's that. And I know I said I was going to try to get you guys back, but there were cool things. Yeah. In fact, okay. Another thing. Yeah. On what remains of this plant. Here. Yes. So in the leaf, you can see these little like squiggles, and that's because something has been, an egg has been laid in between the layers of the leaf, and then the larvae has hatched out of that egg and eaten inside, in between the layers of the leaf, and you get this crazy pattern. There is a particular leaf miner that goes after box elder plants, and they are, if you get a box elder bush that is really, really infested with them, you can hear them. You can actually hear them eating it. We had that happen at Powdermill. I stepped outside and I went, what is that sound? I managed to capture it, and sure enough, it was leaf miners.
What does it sound like? I've heard some unexplained sounds.
I mean, as weird as this is, as stupid as this is going to sound, it sounds like 100 tiny mouths chewing.
Beyond what we take in.
One of my
You
favorite
can
ones to
tear it up. If you get into poison ivy, you can tear it up and get it, kind of mash it up. People say chew on it, but it tastes awful. Don't do that.
That's what they say.
But just squish it between your fingers and you rub it over it, and it'll help. It'll help stop it from itching so badly for a little while. Jewel weed.
Usually it grows next to the poison ivy, though.
Yep. It's nice that it, you know, the remedy is right there next to it. It's a it is a monkey flower. Mimulus is the genus.
We have the field.
There's
That is beautiful, isn't it?
I love it.
I don't know that it's this one, so I'm not going to select it, but
It's just something from north and south.
yeah, they're very iris looking.
Yeah, I have solar on my house. Exactly.
Walk around.
I love all the little details in the.
That's the first thing my son did. Bought a house.
One of the folks in the
Oh,
drawing
Julie.
class.
Julie's
Yeah.
working on a jewel weed, yeah.
And one of my favorite things about jewelweed, once it goes to seed, it gets these elongated pods, and their dispersal mechanism is explosive, literally. So they're a touch-me-not. It's one of the plants that we think of as touch-me-not, and the seed will.
This one's slightly
if you
different from yours.
like
It's
an
a
amazing
nail.
just barely on the side when it's ready, when it's ripe,
Yours is
it'll just
probably, there's
completely
two different
explode.
species of this.
And the seed
See
pod
how
will
much
curl back on
orange
itself.
or almost red that is, and it's got little stripes
As a
or
kid, we
dots
used to
on
do
it.
that. It was like the funnest
Whereas
thing.
yours was
Oh, yeah.
uniformly
Yeah, and
there's
there's dots on the side.
on the side, yes,
Yeah,
but not
and
on
there's,
but
Not
not
in the
a
front.
variety that is
yeah,
called
that
yellow,
looks almost
in
really
addition to
red,
orange.
yeah.
Oh.
They're
So
not
this
separate
looks
species,
a lot like an impatient right
but they
here, just like
don't
you're saying.
seem to cross-pollinate with each other. But they're not separate species. It's a little bit
Wait a
weird,
minute.
right? Right?
This is the
one of the
capensis and the other is the balsamifera.
I know.
I think this is the capensis and the yellow is the balsamifera.
It's
Or maybe I'm wrong about it.
so our horticulturist and I were talking about it, and like there's a lot of figuring out still going on
Yeah.
with that because of that. But this is the more common one that you're going to see. I've seen by the Yak, I've seen a lot of the yellow stuff.
I say we do have some of the yellows, but
Oh, you do?
yeah, I feel like they don't bloom at the same time. Is that wrong or?
It
Just-
depends on where you are. I have seen
We
them
have the yellows and the
blooming
oranges
next to
both
each
bloom
other.
at the same time.
Yeah,
So,
I have definitely seen them blooming next to each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is one more native?
No, they're both native.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, is it Actually true, that's good for poison ivy.
It helps it feel better a little bit for a little while.
Okay.
It's not gonna remove the
No.
poison ivy,
Right.
but it does soothe the itch.
Okay.
Yeah. Same thing. It'll also
septic
soothe the
system.
burn from stinging
Oh.
nettle.
Oh.
You know. I was just saying,
Sounds
you
in
know,
nature.
people say that you should chew it up, and no, don't. Just tear it with your fingers because it
Yeah.
tastes horrible.
Yeah.
What is that again?
Plantain?
This jewel
Oh.
weed.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I just remember grandmother using
It helps. I mean, it makes it feel a little better.
There's some of this on me right now. Just in
Shower
case.
water is hot if you can stand it.
For poison ivy. Well,
Yeah.
you actually first want to rinse with cold water and use something like Dawn to help get the oil.
Oh yeah,
off.
you want to get that out, but
The-
but once
once
it
you're-
starts itching,
Yeah.
it seems like it's there's something about it. It itches so intensely in the hot water, and then you come out of it, it's like
It's better. Yep.
Oh, cool.
Someone.
Oh yeah. Trying to come up in the gravel. Yeah. Let's over here is where I wanted to pull.
Nature, it's so unique.
All this overgrowth is because we were waiting for this nature walk.
That's worth a bonus right there.
nice of you to plan ahead like that.
Yeah. I've been
man.
thinking about it for weeks.
You're the man.
Been thinking about it for weeks.
That's what I told when I
there's a
gave my
trail
brother
here.
for birthday a trowel that I'd forged, and I said, all the asymmetries are so that it's for a lefty.
There you go.
You know.
Perfect for me. Yeah, I'm left-handed. This is the trail to the septic field.
Where does it go?
It goes to the drainage field
Oh.
after our treatment.
And then I saw these two.
The septic bath.
Yeah.
To get out to the garden. It's still
Good,
there.
it's downhill.
Yeah, Norb uses it to mow.
I don't know
Oh yeah, it's still
It's
exists.
like a berry
I
plant.
try to
there.
keep all of them.
Sorry?
I don't know how I maintain it. This one?
It's like a bug got in it.
That's what it looks like.
No. This is in the same family as knotweed and jumpweed, but I'm not sure which one it is. This is it's a native. This is non-Japanese knotweed, which I haven't actually seen any of here, which is awesome.
Everywhere else.
Oh, I know.
Don't bring it.
But this is it's in the same same genus actually.
Okay.
They're really cool. The flowers are really pretty.
The tomatoes look good. Right now we have tomatoes, peppers, eggplant. We have a bunch of tomatoes.
Strawberry or violet.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah, we've probably
now we've seen coltsfoot elsewhere, but these aren't.
These are different.
as soon as
That's
they
where I
find
first
it.
went until I touched it.
Yeah, and these are much more serrated around here. actually. They're
Oh,
sort
like
of-
large violets.
Hmm?
Look like large violets. Oh, there's a bit of yarrow down here.
I'm filming a movie.
Oh yeah.
You know,
little teeny bit.
Call me Matt
Under-
Damon.
that
Wait,
was good spot.
that's an actor.
Nice.
Michael Bay.
All right, let's see what my naturalist can give me with that one.
Oh, and what do we have here?
Oh yeah.
Is that heel? Are those the seed pods from heel?
I think so because I saw some earlier that had been that was past, that was done. You know, the seed pods
Yeah.
were gone and everything. I think so. Is there even still a seed left in there? Maybe. I feel like
Maybe
it's
only,
empty.
yeah.
Split open, yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're. This is
We're getting you off.
This is great. No, this is perfect. This is what. Oh nope, we lost the service. So I'm gonna have to see what that one
right.
is when we get a little closer. But yeah, the seeds are empty. The seeds are gone from
Gone,
this
yeah,
already.
okay.
So the other one, I guess, was just a little more exposed and the papery protection for the seeds had also vanished at that point. There is.
Is this a mint? It has a kind of a square stem.
Is this the thing?
Yeah,
with the purple.
It is a mint. I don't know. It kind of looks like mountain mint.
Doesn't smell.
It is definitely a mint. It's not a strong one.
Oh yeah, with the head like that, you're right. It does kind of look like. But that's going to be that's purple.
And the stem is square.
Mountain mint I know is white.
So there are a few different varieties of mountain mint,
Of
and there
course
are
there
also a few different things called mountain mint.
Well, yeah, that's true.
But it is a mint. I can guarantee you that is a mint.
Cool.
Yeah. And I did, when we go back out, I'll show you, I did see some royal fern. We do have a little baby tulip poplar here.
Yeah.
Which means that there's...
Oh, they're all
yeah, over here they are. Over there it's mostly oaks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By ceramics, we have a tulip poplars.
Okay.
Do you know the difference between all the ferns?
I know some of them. There was a royal fern back there that I just saw, like one frond. And then this is...
I only know Christmas fern and sensitive fern, and that's about the same. And maybe here.
I know, some of the more like royal fern because it's a little bit different. And we have a peacock fern and powdermill and some of those things. But
That's what I would call an ostrich fern there, but you're calling that something else?
which one? This?
Yeah. The fern. The fern.
Oh, I didn't even see it back there. That one.
That's fine.
It's the same. Is it the same as that one?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name of that one because, like I said, there are like 3 that I know because they're more unique. Unfortunately, there's some Japanese.
This is a sedge. Those are the seed pods on it. I'm in the botanical illustration class, and so
That's gonna be amazing.
yeah, this is probably
Oh, we have some wood sorrel.
beyond my ability, but
It's a good challenge.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, this is wood sorrel.
I didn't know that because I've seen that and it looks like some kind of
clover.
clover. But
Yeah, it's very clover looking, but it's wood sorrel.
Hey, Lauren.
It's really tasty. Yes.
You feel like IDing this bug? Is it a grasshopper? This bug?
Like a natural wine.
Well, some kind of katydid.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. So it's, they're very closer. Grasshoppers and katydids and these guys are really closely related. Let's. Oh. There. Nope. He's right here.
Just going for my camera, and of course it
Now, is this true? I mean, I was always
Hang
told
on.
that katydids will bite.
They can. She says as she grabs it with no problem.
Fine. Better you than me, honey.
lots of pictures of it, but I didn't
Oh, we lost a leg, but that's okay. Because when he molts again.
Grow back.
Put your hand just a little bit.
Lower?
Yeah, just
Yeah. And let's get the side with the leg still on it. Ah!
There it goes.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the kitchen garden is
Was it reactionary?
that's all left. That's why I thought so, John. All the more mature stuff.
all right.
Anybody else?
6 weeks to the first crop.
Katydids actually, they're the ones that say katydid.
Right, yeah.
And-
But isn't there an old mountain rumor that once you hear the katydids, it's 6 weeks to the first frost?
Oh, well, to a degree. The thing that I know with katydids and weather and temperature is that there's actually a mathematical formula that you can look at the speed at which they say katydid
Oh, right,
to
and
determine the
it does the
temperature.
temperature, yeah.
Because the warmer it is, the faster they go,
Faster
the
they go.
colder it is. And so like last night, katydid.
They were really slow, yeah.
Katydid. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to put this one back.
I used to call them longhorned grasshoppers.
Yeah, I was looking at one.
Hey, why not?
Yeah, they offer.
We got some pokeweed.
They don't get quite as much sun.
These guys here.
Mm-hmm.
Don't eat those.
I often see yeah, they're really tall. They have a lot more leaves on them and everything.
They can get a pretty hefty stem to them
Yes.
too.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's not woody, but it's tough.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, is it true that pokeweed is one of those that the seeds have to pass through a bird's digestive tract to
In
germinate?
order for they do much better that way.
Okay.
So they're not going to fall on their own right there, but if a bird eats them,
Which
they're
they
going to
do.
be way
They
happier.
love it.
And they make quite a mess with them, yes. Because it's a very dark, purpley berry.
Well, I was telling her that when they get really ripe, they ferment a little bit, and the birds will come in. I've seen robins come in and eat them, and then just kind of go.
They do get affected by that. Now, up ahead a little bit, you can see some of the goldenrod has leaned over, but the cool thing is actually past the goldenrod and people are But a thing that I saw earlier that I got excited about. There's lots of woodpecker damage on this snag here, which is really cool. And different woodpeckers will leave different sized and shaped holes.
That tree directly across from the dining hall door has a whole series of woodpecker holes right up it.
Oh, I'll have to look at it.
Yeah, it's
I'll
really
have to
cool.
look at it.
It's unfortunately going to go.
Well, I'll take a look at it today then.
Not that soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, once
Once you
get that many woodpecker holes and something.
Yeah, it's on our takedown list.
That's dried up back there. Is that a Mayapple. Looks like it, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yes, it's just a very, very large, very old mayapple.
Yeah.
Mayapple, I like mayapple a lot. As they grow, as they age, the leaves get more and more lobes until eventually they split once they're mature. And then the flower will come up between the split. And then if it's pollinated, then you get the May apple, which is, once ripe, the only part of the plant that is not poisonous.
Oh, I thought that was poisonous too.
It is when it's not ripe.
Oh, when does it?
Wait, mayapple? It's a fruit? It's an apple?
It's like this big. It grows like underneath. It's covered underneath the two leaves.
Well, yeah, they make them into this one.
And you can eat the fruit, but not the
blackberry.
seeds.
Watch the blackberry. And watch your step up ahead because that's where the thing is.
Oops, sorry.
I got excited about it. I don't know that everybody else is. Find the blackberry. That's gonna maybe help it. Yep. That's actually multiflora rose.
Yeah, look at that.
That is what I'm after.
The other rose?
Of course. Oh, we actually have some more over there. They grew
Yeah,
again.
we've had a buddy all summer.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go on the other side to see if you can see it. But yeah, this is what I was coming over to show you. I found. Oh boy, I get to show this.
So he ate all these berries and then.
Probably.
And look at how seedy it is. So.
Yeah. So we do have black bear.
A black bear.
Yep. That's what we have here. Is black bear. So yep, we do have some black bear poop here. Scat. And I think I told some of you at least about that iNaturalist app.
Yeah.
And it'll recognize that. If you take a picture of poop, it'll actually recognize scat, and if it can tell you what it is, it will. But this is absolutely black bear poop. I did actually put it on iNaturalist because I really wanted to, and it picked it up. It knew what it was. Black bears are a bit opportunistic, and opportunity is presenting itself in the form of berries and such right now. So you can actually see some of the seeds from some of the berries that it has been eating. So yeah, this is the black bear that has been wandering around. Yeah, it's not that old. There's some flies buzzing around it now, but black bear poop.
Couple days.
No, today. I would say this is probably like last night, this morning. Yeah. It hasn't like flattened out yet. You know, it's still pretty formed. And black bear poop doesn't have a lot to keep it formed like that. So after a day, it's pretty. Yeah. It's just kind of a pile after a day.
Okay.
So yeah. There's our black bear poop.
Look at the size of this tulip tree leaves.
Yeah, they do get very large. Yeah.
The ones in the yards don't get that big.
The old joke is that you're not supposed to wear bells on your back to carry bear spray. You can tell if there are black bears there in the area, grizzly bears in the area. Black bears will have berries and scat. Grizzly bears will have bells and berries.
Yeah. The conditions maybe are different.
Well,
This
yeah,
one
I don't
here?
have a woods, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This one
the,
here is
yeah,
like-
the one up there, yeah.
Yeah, my
How
friend
big
has
the
one
tree
that's like,
is.
Let's go with
yeah, sort of.
And it's got leaves like that big on it. Of course, mine's also growing
It's hard to tell
in
because they're
bad central Ohio clay, so.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
Is this elderberry of some sort?
Yes.
Is that one good?
But that's as much
Oh,
as I
that is
can-
so satisfying.
Although it might be a little bitter because it didn't turn black yet.
Darn it. I just like the look of it.
What's that thing? I think it's a bug that gets in the stem.
It's another species.
And it lives in there until it busts out. Incredible. I've never seen it. Well, I don't think you'll know what kind of bug it is until.
And they're scat. I mean, if they happen to be.
Oh my god, it's bitter.
But no.
Because it wasn't ready.
I mean, there's a.
It wasn't ready. Also, why you. What? What? Yeah, you're not supposed to eat it when it's
God. I asked Stacy and she lied to me.
Well, and then I said it should be turned black. It might be bitter.
She told you. So.
Because it does.
She's a liar.
She is not.
She's
prepping.
This is North's mowing path, so him and the bear get to eat most of these berries. I think North picks them and puts them up his way. And then, yeah, the field for septic drainage starts pretty much within where these tall trees are. It goes all the way to the tree. Palmer is going to be out here today, and I have to walk him to that tree and then up to those trees to show him where we need clear. Yeah.
You smell like gas.
Yeah, I come up in through here and then I go that way, which my trail is quickly diminishing.
So it's just a gentle slope, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's all mostly coming this way, but it kind of goes that direction, you know, towards.
So you don't really want it to go back into.
I don't want it to look like this at all. I just didn't know that it needed maintained, and Dennis didn't maintain it. I don't know that I'm not saying he didn't do it, but
Does it need to be maintained?
It just needs to be cleared.
Yeah, because you need that evaporation of it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the tree.
Oh, you're talking about for your
drainage.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, it starts pretty much where these trees are and goes
I
all
got
the way
you.
to that
Yeah,
tree
yeah,
line. But that's not part of the nature walk.
We lost them.
Oh, you found a bunch.
Oh yeah.
Your hidden stash.
Yeah, there's a couple. Come on, Adam. There's a little one.
What are we seeking?
Do you live off Skyline?
Yeah.
You probably have them. It's a
We're
little
behind.
warmer.
We're like 3 weeks behind you guys.
Oh, really?
Because we're 1,100 feet higher than you.
That makes sense.
And so it puts us back quite a ways.
You plant a veggie garden.
Yeah. So for us, our tomatoes are nothing like you guys get here.
Yeah.
We don't get as much sun. We get tons of fall. So
Oh.
I'm right on the eastern side. So all the weather comes up, hits the ridge, and just drops right on top of it.
Right on you, yeah.
So like yesterday morning
So
coming
go
here,
back
you
there.
couldn't see 50 yards in front of you.
I bet.
Maybe.
And so
Yeah.
because of that,
Make it happen, Andrew.
And then it actually causes a chemical change to the plant. And it makes it swell up like this. And if you waited for it to get a little bit bigger and it actually kind of dries out a little bit, you can dissect it and you can find the wasp inside here. If it had laid it at the top, like the terminal edge, what'll happen is that the upward growth would stop and the hormone signal to the plant would cause it to just leaf out like crazy instead of growing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you see a goldenrod that you know,
Right.
all these other goldenrods are up here, and this one stopped and
Mhm.
has 80 leaves where it should
Right,
have
yeah.
4.
Yeah.
It's another gall.
So then does the wasp inside bore its way out, or does it just get so dry it cracks open?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
You know, it doesn't, yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah, there we have a gall wasp. Wow. Good spot. They actually do some pretty wild things. I feel like I did see an alder somewhere around here, but there's an alder gall that actually, yeah, there you go. There's another gall of some kind.
Oh.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Don't know what kind that is.
It looks like it's on a stem. Yeah. But it looks like it's on a stem.
Yep.
That's
And
incredible.
it looks like bird.
And it's
like
just
it's supposed to be there, right?
It does. There's a like it looks like there's a leaf inside of it.
So again,
Like it
it's
overwhelmed
causing an actual chemical change
Yeah.
to the plant, and it's sending different hormone signals than it normally would, and it makes it grow differently than if it hadn't been infected. Yeah, like I said, the alders will produce. They almost look like little cones. Now, they're reproductive. Well, there are cones. They're little cones. But the galls are like a closed up pine cone that's only about that big.
Oh, okay, yeah. Uh-huh.
Did I get a picture of that? I feel like I may have. So many.
A wasp lays eggs in the stem, and then the plant has a chemical reaction to it. So this will dry
Don't
up,
think
and then
I have.
a combination of like it dries up and the animal burrows.
I don't think I have a picture of it,
And then this one over here.
of that gall, but
But if it's a looks like a green pine cone, yeah, that's all.
yeah, you know, it's got the overlapping
It's like
pieces.
scales, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like scales, but yeah. Cool.
Weekly rations coming.
All right, so we're gonna head this way because it's already 12:22, and I don't want to make people late for lunch. So we're gonna go.
Do you see an artifact back there with the?
It looks like
One of these
somebody
giant
got
things
something.
too much trees. I don't have anything to press it with
I know
very
that
well,
sometimes.
but
That's sometimes. Watch the bear scat on your way back out. Remember, it's still there. No stuff in it. That one is the That is. Yeah.
yeah, can you hook it behind something here? Yeah. Goldenrod has to be good for something.
Right? Blackberry there. Blackberry.
Yeah, my winter time on this. Are you gonna make these at a shop or?
You getting any inspiration?
Yeah, I think I know exactly what I want my project to be this week.
Okay.
Oh, okay. And this is what it was. Edge of the ground.
Now what about this stuff that looks like
I think it might be within the realm of
That is deer tongue.
possibility to
What's
do,
that really?
you know?
Well, you got open studio to practice and maybe make it even better.
Native.
It's native,
You know?
Yeah, I think
Stilt grass
best
is
case
not.
scenario, I can maybe make it kind of
So there's some stilt grass
realistic looking
back
one.
there.
And
Yeah,
it's not-
there's a whole lot
it's like
of
not super detailed,
Yeah, and that's
but
called deer tongue.
kind of big.
Yeah.
It's the
It is a grass. So in
want to make a Joe
that's
Pye
stilt grass. Yeah.
Okay.
model because I
They look
like
like
the
little bamboos,
Yeah, they do.
The-
They look a lot like little bamboo.
which is a good.
first of all the leaves are kind of oblong, which is way easier. And I am having a hard time getting the good spread, but I can get the narrow ones down pretty good. And I like that they have like
This tree here, which you could argue that it's actually a shrub, but this is witch hazel.
Yes.
Oh,
So the, you know, if you think of like witch hazel extract that people use on the toner, it's an extract from this plant.
Do you know what they
and
extract
I
it
brought
from?
you guys the seed pod. Say again?
Yeah.
Do you know what part of the plant they extract
I
it from?
think it's the bark, but don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure.
Gotcha.
It is, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she should, yeah.
All right. Cool. There's more wood swirl.
Oh, sorry.
Looks like a slug that someone accidentally stepped upon.
Oh.
It used to be a slug. There are plenty of those.
Not that I am particularly curious.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, take some of this since it's already kind of squished.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good one.
Oh, that whole thing.
Nice.
Okay. I didn't
Oh.
do that. It
Oh,
just
yes.
came right
Now
out.
you can do roots.
All right, and I'll plant it back near the. Do you not like the way it smells?
I don't know. I'm just enjoying. Yeah, I do. I had to remind me.
How did your rack? How did your tool rack come?
Oh, it went out
here
pretty
yesterday?
well. I'm not happy with the sides, but the twist that I did. Thanks.
You finish it up, or you still got stuff to do with it?
I still gotta put some pipes onto the actual cart so that I can just insert it like that.
Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah.
Ohio South.
I caught one of these in my eye once.
Ah.
Yeah.
That's the reason Zanesville
Yes,
has
hawthorn.
I mean, at one time, Zanesville made.
Most of you aren't quite tall enough to run into this, but if you are, watch out for the hawthorn here. It does have some lovely thorns on it. It has some really nice berries at different times of year. A different time of year, rather.
We were talking and missed the first part. What is it?
Hawthorn. Yeah, and you can see the thorns. These thorns can get, 3 inches long on a really mature tree. It's a very good defense mechanism.
There's more galls here too.
Yes, there's a whole bunch of galls in that space there.
Oh, Lauren, this was that yellow plant that I was talking about.